Welcome to the Clothes-Free Living Update, brought to you by the folks at clothesfreelife.com. We're excited to be able to bring you this regular feature of the clothes-free news from around the web, information related to clothes-free living, and much more. Now here's your host, Earl D.
And a happy Friday to everyone. Hope you're having a great clothes-free Friday. And it's Earth Day today, so happy Earth Day as well. I want to welcome you to broadcast 15 of the Clothes-Free Living Update. And on today's show, we're going to be exploring some topical issues that relate to the image of nudism, naturism, and clothes-free living in the general society and general world. And the two things we're going to look at are some laws and the use of ordinances and things like that to criminalize simple nudity, and the proliferation of these websites that are so-called naturist blogs that are nothing but reblogging pictures of naturist or naked people, really. So we're going to look at both of those issues today in the show. I want to welcome you and say that this show is being pre-recorded today. We had some scheduling issues, so this is not a live show. You won't be able to chat with us live, but we hope you'll tune in anyway and listen and post some comments on our show page. That's you can find that on Spreaker.com/clothes-free-life. Also, you can find this podcasted episode on our website, clothesfreelife.com. You can post comments on that on Twitter and also on our Instagram feeds. So check us out in all those places on social media and on our website. And we want to hear from you. We want to hear what your thoughts are about the things that we cover on the broadcast. So criminalizing simple nudity. Our talk-up topic for this week on Tuesday, that's our regular feature, was what do we do? What kind of response can those who choose to the preference for trying to live clothes-free or participate in the practice of social nudity or live the philosophy of naturism, how do you respond to what seems to be a growing trend of trying to eliminate that option by criminalizing simple nudity? We see it in the case of Stephen Goff in the UK, where just walking around without clothes, he spent many years in prison for the not causing offense, but the possibility that he would cause offense, and that's a challenge. Now, I'm not gung-ho about this whole thought of you should be able to be nude anywhere, even in public places. I'm not really gung-ho about that. But there's a more, I think, insidious kind of thing happening with this, where, for instance, the folks in from the website Unconstitutional Arkansas are sharing with us that there's a law in Arkansas that makes it illegal, and you could potentially be arrested if the law was enforced for simply being in a socially clothes-free situation on private property. even if that private property was your own home. So if you had a clothes-free gathering in your own home, you and someone reported it, you could potentially be arrested and charged. Furthermore, that law goes even further to say that if you even advocate gathering for some kind of social activity where you might promote the clothes-free life, then you can be charged. And this is the thing that I think is really scary. The irony of it all is that Arkansas's motto, or their little state slogan, is that they're the natural state, and yet they have targeted people being in their natural state, that is clothes-free, on private property, and you could be fined $2,500, $2,500, and spend a year in jail just for saying, hey, I think this is a good thing. Now, how do you figure that? In a society that values free speech and values freedom of individual rights, how is it that a state could get away with passing that kind of a law? And what do we do about that? How do you respond? How do you address that issue? It seems to me that the folks at Unconstitutional Arkansas, who wrote a great piece for us that's on the website, and you can check it out at clothesfreelife.com. It's on one of our featured sections. So if you go to the featured section, or you can see it on the front page on our slider, they wrote a great piece talking about this. And it seems to me that it's fundamentally unconstitutional. But I'm not a lawyer, and I don't play one on TV. It seems to me, though, that someone could challenge this in court if they had the courage and the resources to go at it, and it would get overturned. It seems to me that it's unenforceable from a legal standpoint. But, and this is the big but, who's going to do that? Is there anyone out there who would be willing to take up that charge, to begin to respond to this kind of illegal law? I mean, it's a law that violates fundamental rights given in the Constitution. Is there someone who can take that up? And, the folks at Unconstitutional Arkansas have really researched this, and they've looked into this law as well as some laws that might be emerging in other states. And that's something that we need to understand. Now, when some of these laws get on the books in one place, they're often copied in other places. So if you say, hey, you know what, I don't live in Arkansas, so it doesn't really matter to me, don't be fooled. It could be coming to a law like this could be coming to a state near you very soon. So how do we respond? How do we become advocates for our own interests in the clothes-free naturist and nudist community? One of the things that comes to mind about that is that there is an existing group called the Naturist Action Committee that works to do legal advocacy in the public and political sphere. And supporting that group, supporting that organization and its work can be one step. They also have on their website an overview of the law, the Arkansas law, and there's been some media coverage of it. The folks over at Young Naturist have addressed, kind of laid out some of the issues alongside the folks from Unconstitutional Arkansas. So, we need to get educated, and then we need to figure out how to connect with people. I would think that people in the clothes-free living naturist and nudist communities would want to educate themselves on this issue and connect with advocacy groups that can address this kind of thing in reasoned way. So I say that because, let me say this, I don't think a good way to address stuff like this is to go out and do some kind of mass protest. Some of the folks who've commented on our Talk Up topic on the website this week have said, yeah, we got to fight this. We got to go out and protest. I don't think protests work in this particular situation. I think we have to look for the legal remedies that already exist. And there are clearly some issues of constitutionality that are being violated here. And I think that's the path to go. Because when you go the legal route, you can set precedent. Right, you can get precedent set that hopefully will carry over into other spheres, and you're able to address the issue more broadly. Another example of what's going on with this kind of stuff is what's happening in Orange County to the Naturist there, where the city manager in Huntington Beach is just kind of came out with a rule, I guess you could say an ordinance, that said the local pool, which had been renting their facility for many years to the local naturist there, the public pool had been renting that for some time to the local naturist there. This city manager told them that they could no longer do that. There were, from the record, there was nothing going on there that the pool managers thought were a problem. The lifeguards weren't complaining, but they were banned. This naturist group was banned from using and reserving the city pool because of this ordinance or rule that the city manager decided to enforce. And he said that it's reported, I should say, that he said it reported in the news that he said that there had been incidents and complaints from city employees who worked at the pool and observed the various events, and that's why he evoked this law and or this ordinance and banned the use of the pool. So the question is, which city employees complained? What incidents were there? Because the Orange County Weekly reported this week that they have not been able to find any incidences of reports that or of any incidents where city employees complained. And the city manager has not put forward any evidence, any proof of those complaints. And so it seems like there's a lack of transparency here. And again, this is what these end arounds do. These legal end arounds do. They kind of shield politicians from having to address the real issue of what's wrong with simple nudity. If no one is being hurt, attacked, or bothered, what's in terms of being bothered in a physical way, what's wrong with it? You see, as someone quoted today on the website, we don't have a right to not be offended. If you don't care for it, then don't participate. If you don't want to see it, just go in the opposite direction. But there's this real effort to, I think it's pandering to a particular segment of the population to try to do these legal end arounds to eliminate it. And I hope that we can come together as people who support this kind of